Alright, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, for allowing me to make this very video. Yahweh being the true name of the Most High, Bahashem meaning the name of, and Yahweh Shai being the true name of his only begotten Son, the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Alright, and this video basically is going to be entitled Zephaniah 3 and 9. Okay, Zephaniah 3 and 9 destroys this, any language garbage. Right, and I may come up with a better title, but Zephaniah 3 and 9 completely destroys, all right, it obliterates this any language garbage. All right, I'll probably, come up with a better title. But basically, because it's not the first time I heard this, but basically, you got basically different, people, Christians saying that you can call, because, we have the name Yahweh Shai, but they say Yeshua, garbage. His name is Yahweh Shai, right, man, right? You get Matthew 1. Now, you should know in Hebrew culture, a person's name often dictated, what their role would be, or what they would be, okay? Or things of that nature, all right? There's many, many examples, right? The whole book of Hosea, the first chapter, right? Goddamn, Isaac, his name in the Hebrew literally means he laughs, because Abraham laughed, right? When the Lord told him that, really it was Abraham and Sarah, right? They both laughed. When the Most High told them that, because they were very, very old, when the Lord told them that he would give them the seed, man. And Abraham, I think he was like fucking 100, maybe like 99, I think, when he had Isaac. I could be wrong. It should be 99, right? How old was Abraham? Pretty sure he was 99 when he had Isaac. Oh, I was close. 100. See that? So he's very old, man. So he laughed. So that's Isaac's name. When you go to the Hebrew, he laughs, man. So that's just Hebrew culture. This Matthew chapter 1 verse 21. And she, Mary, shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name, says Jesus. No, Yahweh Shai. Why? For he shall save his people, the Israelites, right, the 12 tribes of Israel, from their sins, right, as it is recorded in prophecy. So again, this was his purpose, right? For he shall save his people from their sins. Yah, meaning he in the Hebrew, in the Paleo-Hebrew, right, which we know we discontinued from, right, via, the transatlantic slave trade, right? Because remember, what makes Babylon great, right? What makes Babylon the Great so unique from all other captivities, nigga, in the Babylonian captivity, in the ancient Babylonian captivity, right? In the Persian captivity, in the Greek captivity, right? In the Roman captivity, in the New Testament, we knew we were Israelites. But what makes this captivity unique is that this is the only captivity, man. We did not know we were Israelites. We thought we were Negroes and African American and fucking Moors and all this garbage, speaking all the languages of our oppressors that we learned through the slave trade, man. But the slave trade is deeper than the transatlantic slave trade, man. You had the Native Americans getting slaughtered and sent off ships to Spain way before, 1619, when the Negroes got over here on slave ships from Africa, the wilderness, right? The field, as you read Micah 4, Revelation 12. You had the Roman Empire. They sacked us. They destroyed us in 70 AD, primarily because really it was 7 years. It was 7-year war, the Jewish wars. But primarily in 70 AD, they, caused us to flee out of our own land. We fled, really, as Yahweh Shai prophesied, we were led captive to all nations, man, because one event led to another. But we mainly fled into West Africa, which there, you got the Hamites, your fucking Africans, Tyre and Zidon, right? Joel 3, they took the children of Judah and sold them to the so-called white man, and they brought us over in slave ships. Okay, and then over time, we discontinued from our heritage. We learned the English tongue. What does it mean to discontinue from something? I'm going to get the scriptures right. It means to discontinue from something. Exactly. To discontinue from something means to stop doing an ongoing activity, habit, service, or product. So that's what we did. We stopped doing our whole goddamn heritage, man. The laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Knowing that we're the Israelites, right? Our customs, we stopped doing that. Jeremiah 17:1, the sin of Judah. Now, Jeremiah was sent primarily to prophesy to the southern kingdom, which would be Judah, all right? Your Negroes, all right? The tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's the southern kingdom right there, man. Especially like around the term John Jeremiah, primarily those three tribes, really, Judah and Benjamin, but also Levi as well. The sin of Judah, okay, because by the time Jeremiah came to prophesy, to the southern kingdom, the northern kingdom, they already swallowed up. Jeremiah started prophesying, 627 BC. The northern kingdom was swallowed probably a little bit over 100 years before that. Okay? The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron, and with the point of a diamond it is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their altars, and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field, I will give your substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all your borders. The Lord pronouncing judgment on, the men and the women of Judah. And thou, here's the point, even yourself, shall discontinue, stop from your heritage, stop doing that I gave you. See that? And I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land which you know is not. America, Babylon the Great. For you have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever, meaning just a very long time. Okay, so we discontinued from our heritage, man. The law, statutes, commandments, our goddamn land, our identity. Being identityless is part of the curses, man. It may be called a proverb and a byverb and all these different things. Right? So this is what happened to us. This is our history. The Bible isn't quote unquote black history. Right? So we discontinue from our heritage, man. All right? Which that involved the Hebrew, man. A person's language is a part of their heritage, their culture. Is it not? Everybody else, the Chinese, Japanese, they have their own goddamn language. Right? They have their own culture, man. A language is part of a culture. Right? Deuteronomy 4. Let me start at verse 26. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day that you shall sin. And Moses, he's talking to essentially us, man. We were back there. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land wherein you go over Jordan to possess it, the land of Canaan. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations. See that? This is the punishment for breaking the contract the Lord made with us when he brought us out of Egypt, right? And you shall be left in few in number among the heathen, where the Lord shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, like Caesarea Borgia, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. And why are we serving these other gods? Because we discontinue from our own God, our own heritage, man. Right? No, let me not do that. Let's do. This is the true image of your Jesus Christ. All right? This man who had his father, Pope Rodrigo VI, had a man named Leonardo da Vinci paint his son as the Messiah, man. This is that image. They got niggas scoffing this too. Look, the Lord's gonna kill you, man. So keep scoffing, monkey. Keep talking that shit. Okay? Keep on talking that ish. Alright? This man, this fucking homosexual, goddamn murderous, incestuous man. He was a warmonger too. And, that explains why, Christians are so damn fucking weak. They got them idols weak. But there we have it. So, back to Deuteronomy 4. So there, were we serving other gods, the work of man's hands, wood and stone, man, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell, like Jesus Christ. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, which that's happening right now, right? The elected nation of Israel are this great awakening, right? And we're waking up to our identity. And you got niggas angry, salty, scoffing, talking shit, and we're seeking the Lord our God. Thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart, with all thy soul. When thou art in tribulation, which we're in tribulation right now, and all these things that come upon you, even in the latter days, end time, future. If thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shalt be obedient unto his voice. But the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore unto them. See that? So there we have it. So again, right now we're scattered among the nations, primarily in Babylon, but among the nations. And our people, for the most part, are into this Caesar Borgia craft. Serving other gods, wood and stone, man. The work of man's hand. A fucking painting, man. By Leonardo da Vinci, the work of man's hand. And why are we serving this shit? Because we discontinue from our own God, from our own heritage, man. You see that? And that's in Deuteronomy 28 as well. In the 64th verse. Thou shalt serve other gods Let me get that right. Deuteronomy 28. All right. Moses was a prophet. He prophesied about many things, man. Many time periods. Deuteronomy 28. All right. In verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods. Same thing. Which neither you nor your fathers have known. This is a reincarnation scripture. And there you shall serve other gods which you have not known. Reincarnation, man. Even wood and stone. All right, that Jesus Kribos. So neither us nor our fathers, we didn't know that shit all those years ago, man. Jesus Christ. Okay, so again, point being made, we discontinued from our heritage, man. You know, we forgot about our identity and all that. But around the time in 1969, that's when the truth started, to come out. You see, the Most High sent the Holy Spirit from above, man. And the truth started with a man named Abba Bivens. And you had men before him, that, had that talking about having dreams and visions of that we were the Israelites. But basically, they they didn't really jive into the New Testament. Abba Bivens was the first man to jive into the New Testament, which really was sparked the truth. You see? So again, Matthew 1:21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins. His people from their sins. Which when you keep reading, it tells you it's the house of David. All you gotta do is go back to Isaiah 7:13, what it quote, what Matthew quotes, the book of Matthew quotes. So again, Yah, Y-A, Yah, he, Hawashai delivers or saves. In the ancient Paleo Hebrew, our language that we discontinued from the Paleo Hebrew, Yah Hawashai, Yah, he Hawashai saves or delivers. He saves. Yahweh, he delivers. That's his name in the Hebrew. In the ancient Paleo Hebrew that's been restored to us, man. You have different artifacts that was found. Man's going to the Lord, man. All this was of the Lord to fulfill prophecy, and we're going to get that Zephaniah 3. All right, before I play Zephaniah, before I read Zephaniah 3, all right, we're going to get it, verse 9. We're going to play the video first, because there's this doctrine walking these meanwhile streets, basically talking about, you can call the Lord's name in any language as long as you call on his name. Zephaniah 3 destroys that doctrine. Here we go.
Jesus is how you pronounce his name in English. Yeshua is how you pronounce his name in Hebrew. Jesus is how you pronounce his name in Spanish. Yesu is how you pronounce his name with some of the Indian and African nations. Can't remember how you pronounce it in Russian, okay? It's the same name, but depending on the language, you pronounce it differently, okay? Keep in mind, we have never casted out a demon, and he said, I'm not coming out because you used the wrong name. My son Jeremiah, that's how you pronounce his name in English. How you pronounce it in Hebrew is Jeremiah. I have a daughter named Elizabeth. That's how you pronounce it in English. In Hebrew, it's pronounced Elisheva. Same name, but it's pronounced differently. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So don't get caught up in all of the drama, because I've had to tell people, I don't call him Jesus. I call him Yeshua. Wonderful. I call him Jesus, and I get all of the results. See, if you want to call him Yeshua, there's nothing wrong with that. We have people that come up there, and they say, in the name.
He said he gets all the results. More demons.
Of Yeshua,
and really, you're just stacking up judgment on yourself. Because you're blaspheming the Lord, man. It's in the law, right? Leviticus 23, or maybe 24. Thou shalt not blaspheme the name of the Lord. You blaspheme the name of the Lord, you call him outside of his name, man. His name is he has one name, and it's in Hebrew, right? Let me play this first.
Yeah, I probably said that wrong. Y'all get my point. There's some, if somebody gets up there and they say it's in the name of Yesu, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Oh, that's cool. That's how you pronounce his name in some of the African languages. There's some of the Ukrainian and Russian brothers here get up and pronounce his name in Russian. I have no problem with that, because I think personally that's beautiful. Keep in mind, whether it's Yesu, Yeshua, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Christ, whether it's the firstborn son of light, as the demons called him, you're going to get the answer because it's in his name.
See, so again, it's this doctrine. You can just call on his name in any language. That's bullshit. Zephaniah 3:9 destroyed that. Before I read this, right, let me get Acts 26, when Yahushua revealed himself to Paul, right? Paul asked him for his name. What language did he respond? What did he respond? Because most likely Yahushua was a polyglot. He spoke many different languages, right? That's a polyglot. Acts 26, all right? This is verse 13. At midday, O king, all right? Paul is before Agrippa. I saw, and he's explaining, his experience, his encounter with Yahushua, or his rather calling into the ministry. I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them which journeyed with me. And when we were all fallen, which most likely was a UFO, most likely, and when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me, and saying in the Hebrew tongue. There was no such thing as no bullshit Yiddish at the time. The Paleo-Hebrew, our language, the language of Canaan. Saul, Saul, red letter, why persecutest thou me? Right, because when you touch the believers of Yahushua, you touching him. Paul was dragging them out, beating the shit out of them, jailing them. It is hard for you to kick against the prick. It is hard for you to fight against my will. And I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecuted. I am Yahushua, whom thou persecuted. I am Yahweh. What he replied to him in the Hebrew tongue, I am Yahushua. So there's no Jesus, there's no Jesus in the Hebrew tongue. That's not all things, Romans 15:4, right? Were written for our learning. Okay? Now let's go to Zephaniah 3, because, you can just call his name in English or Chinese. Remember, we discontinued from our heritage. So if we discontinue from our heritage, now you got to explain Zephaniah 3, right? This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9. This is future prophecy. For then will I turn to the people, the Israelites, a pure language, the Hebrew, our language, the Paleo-Hebrew, which is the purest language, man. The Lashawan Quadash, which means holy tongue, right? Paleo-Hebrew goes from right to left, right? Lashawan, that's, tongue, Quadash, holy. But it goes from right to left, the holy tongue. Our language, Paleo-Hebrew, man. All right, which, again, it is a scripture in the Apocrypha. When you pray in the Paleo-Hebrew, it's actually more powerful. But why did the Lord have to turn back towards our language, right? Why? Remember, we discontinued from our language. So why did the Lord have to turn back to our language if we can just continue speaking and, calling his name in English and Spanish, all these languages that we learn, right? Even when you read Acts chapter 2, right? All the languages that this dude mentioned, Acts chapter 2. Nigga, you had Israelites from every province, man, speaking these languages. And it's the same shit today. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, why? That they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent. See that? You need the name of the Lord to serve him. And this is why he gave us back the Hebrew. So it's like Zephaniah 3:9 destroys this doctrine of, you can just call his name in any language, right? No, but why? If that's the case, right? Being that we understand that, us Israelites and Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and if you don't believe that, well, prove it with the prophecy, nigga. I dare you. You go get your fucking head smashed in. All right? But anyway, being that we know we discontinue from our languages, why did the Lord have to give us back the Hebrew if we can just call his name in all the languages that we picked up from our oppressors? Spanish, a lot of, like, your tribe is Simeon and Ephraim, these niggas speak Spanish. They think they Spanish. Not understanding the Spaniards are Edomites. They had their grandfathers in slavery. How you Spanish, dummy? But they're so stupid and they want to be Edomite. They want to be white so damn bad, man. I know, block. Yeah, you're going to be fucking, you're not black. You're going to be chaff soon, nigga. Chaff, right, for the missiles to burn. Okay? But nonetheless, yeah, so again, we learn all French, Spanish, English primarily, right? So we can just call his name in French, Spanish, and English. Why the hell we have to give us back the Hebrew? That they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him one consent. So you can't get around that. You can't get around that. The reason he gave us back the Hebrew is so that you can call his name. So now you have no excuse. He gave you back the Hebrew. You have no excuse now. Deuteronomy 10:20. Thou shalt fear the Lord your God. Him shalt thou serve. To serve him one consent. You can't serve him without the name. How the fuck you serve the Lord without the name, right? We read that in Zephaniah 3:9. To serve him with one consent. And to him thou shalt cleave and swear by his name. Whew. See that? So we gotta cleave to our God. But how you gonna cleave on a God? You call his name in the Greek, or the nasty ass language like the Greek. The Edomites. Now, come on, dog. Verse 21. He is your praise, and he is your God, that have done for you these great and terrible things which your eyes have seen. See that? You know, all the things that he done for us in the past, man. And that he's gonna do for us in the future, man. The Lord talked about how, look, ancient Egypt, that's gonna be old news. Wait till you see what I do for the elect of my people in, you know, modern day Egypt. When he delivers us out of the modern day house of bondage, man. The modern day furnace of affliction. Babylon, the great spiritual Egypt. That's Jeremiah 16, Jeremiah 23. You know? So again, man, this is why he gave us back the Hebrew. So you can't get around that. I will turn to the people of pure language. Why? That they may all call upon the name of the Lord. So now you have no excuse. Because he gave us back the Hebrew. Now you can call his name. You have no excuse. So it is a requirement to know his name. Now you don't have to know the whole goddamn Lashon Kodash, you know, in the Hebrew language. You don't have to know it fluently. You only have to know, you know, essentially his name. But, you know, you should want to learn. Nigga, it's your language, man. Our goddamn people, you had these nigga monkeys. Saw a video earlier. You know, you be having the Dominican parades and all that. These nigga monkeys proud of a heritage that's not even theirs, man. Walking around with a Dominican flag on their neck. You know? Looking stupid, man. But you're not proud of your own original heritage? The Hebrew? You don't want to speak to your God in Hebrew? Think about it, nigga. I remember I seen this one video. You had this Hamite dude, I think he was from Kenya, I don't remember, but he basically was talking about, so he came out straight front with it. He was talking about, look, African Americans are the only people in America that are cultureless, identityless, which he was 144% correct, and that proves we're the Israelites. You gotta sit back and fucking think with your brain, man. The Russian man has his own language. The Chinese man got his own language. The Japanese man got his own language. You know what I'm saying? All these different individuals, man, these different European languages, or the different European peoples that live down there in Europe. You see what I'm saying? The Indian man got his own language. The Arabians. It's not a fucking coincidence we're the only people with no language and no culture and no heritage. That's not an accident, nigga. All the races and the nations on this earth, there's no really such thing as a race, it's just a nation, right? What progenitor do you go back to? But I'm just saying race so you understand. It's not a fucking accident, nigga. All the nations on the earth, we're the only people that are landless. Can't go back to the land of black. Chinese man can go back to China. Russian man can go back to Russia. You can't go to the land of black. It's not an accident. It's not an accident we're cultureless and identityless. It's because we're the Israelites and we're discontinued from these things. So you don't want to come back to that. You don't want, like, you know, you don't want to have your own language, nigga. You don't want to talk in your language. Shit, nigga, you bugging. You know? And it's more powerful when you speak to the Lord in Hebrew anyway. You can pray in English, but you have to call on the name in the Hebrew. The name has to be in Hebrew. You have no excuse. And the name is a requirement for salvation. Okay, and I'm going to prove that. Let's go to Joel 2, right? Which Peter and Paul quote Joel 2 in verse 32 specifically, which shows you, you know, this is end-time prophecy. Now, this whole chapter is end-time prophecy. All right, this is Joel 2, all right, and verse 30, excuse me. Yeah, verse 30. And I will show wonders in the heavens and the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. This is getting into the nuclear destruction. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. This is end time prophecy. This is getting into the nuclear destruction, man. The sun gonna be turned into darkness. Gonna have a lot of, you know, black, you know, like the black fumes and the smoke that come from, you know, missiles and fire, I think that nature. And also the missiles are gonna block out the sun, man. They're gonna be shot all the way in the firmament, block out the sun. The land gonna be turned to darkness, man. They're gonna fucking, ooh, man, destroy the fuck out this place, man. And you really gotta pray to Yahweh Shemel Shah that he gives you like the vision to see that, man. I mean, I was thinking about that shit last night. I'm like, damn, man, that shit gonna look crazy. Or when I'm alive to see it in that chariot, man, perfected. You know, so we know off the rip, verse 30 and 31, this is end time prophecy, verse 32. So this is getting to nuclear destruction, right? And it shall come to pass, future prophecy, that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord. Stop, this is hand in hand with Zephaniah 3. This is both end time prophecies. So the Lord gave us back the Hebrew so that they may call on my name. So you have no excuse. Shall be delivered from the destruction, man, from all the perils that's coming, but primarily the destruction. So you have no excuse. He gave us back the Hebrew. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, the Israelites only shall be delivered. So that slices you whosoever demon ass niggas. Okay? As the Lord hath said, and in the remnant, whom the Lord shall call, right? The remnant of Israel. Okay? The point being made, calling on the name of the Lord is a requirement of deliverance, man. It's right here, point, crystal clear. And he gave us back the Hebrew. Why? That they may call on my name. So the Lord understands you need his name his name is a requirement for salvation. So being that he understands that, he had to give us back the Hebrew. Simple. So you have no goddamn choice. If you can just call him, my point being made, if you can just say his name in any language, right? He would not have had to give us back the fucking Hebrew. You can just call his name in English, which we learned from our oppressors, in the French and the Spanish and all that. But why did he give us back the Hebrews? That they may call on my name. You can't get around that point, man. You can try, but you can't. You can't get around that point. Let me get Zephaniah 13. Alright, I don't want this video to be too long. Zephaniah 13. Can't get around that point. If you can just call on his name in any language, he will not have ever had to give us back the Hebrew. But he gave it back to us. Why? That they may call on my name. Because his name is a requirement for salvation. Zephaniah 13:8. And it shall come to pass. Same thing. That in all the land, right? Not all the world, all the land. What land? America, Babylon the Great. Because that's the laser focus, right? That's the tunnel vision of the Lord, prophetically speaking. Babylon the Great. Saith the Lord Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. 2/3 of the nation of Israel. But the third, which is the elect, shall be left therein. Right? There's a precept in Isaiah 4. That's how we know the third is talking about Zion, the Israelites, because you had a dread-headed crackhead. I did a video on this shit a minute ago. He's basically he's thinking it's talking about the whole world. No, it's not. The third shall be left there, and that's Isaiah 4. I'll grab the precept just real quick for you. Isaiah 4. This is why it's very important. That's why David said, therefore I hate every false way. Through thy precept I get understand. But you don't go precept on precept. You end up erring. Going right the fuck off. Sliding right down the false doctrine slide. Isaiah 4. Alright. And verse 3. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion. See that? And he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. That's the elect. He that is left in Zion. Right? You go back to Zephaniah 13. The third, right? The elect shall be left therein. That's what it's talking about, man. Right? In 2 parts, that's a lot of Israelites, man. Man, Ezra compared it to, I don't think it was Ezra. I think the angel was talking to Ezra. This was 2nd Ezra, I believe it's the 9th chapter. Basically, those that are saved, the elect that are the only people that are going to be saved, right, is equal to a drop of water. And those that are not saved are equal to a wave. Nigga, that is a lot of fucking bodies, man. You know, in Isaiah 6, it's compared to, like, cutting down a stump. Right? You know how when you cut a tree down and the stump that's left, is the elect. And that big ass tree that falls backwards, the 2/3, man. That's a lot of Israelites are going to fucking die, man. Or they're going to die. You see? So that 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. The 2/3 of the nation of Israel, man, they're predestinated for destruction. But the third, the elect, man, the remnants, meaning few, right? Paul said right now there's a remnant shall be left there, and they're going to survive. They survive what? The nuclear destruction, right? It's going to tell you. Verse 9, and I will bring the third part. Right, the third part, the elect, through the fire, through the nuclear destruction. That's going to destroy America, wholly desolate. He's going to beam them up in UFOs. And will refine them as silver is refined. And will try them as gold is tried, right? Our faith is going to be tried as gold is tried. Okay? And you know when our faith is going to be tried, right? Jacob's trouble, our temptation. And our faith is really being tried every goddamn day. Here's the point. Semicolon, so talking about the same thing, right? Here's the point. They shall call on my name. Because he gave us back the Hebrew. So you have no excuse. And I will hear them. Right, because if there's a nigga across the street, hey, yo, Jake, his name is Max. His name is Max. But you like, oh, yo, Jacob. He's not going to turn around, man. What's his name? What is his son's name, if thou canst tell? They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, right? They know my name. And they shall say, the Lord is my God. And actually, that reminds me of a precept. So you can't get around it, man. In the last days, the elect of the nation of Israel are going to have the Lord's name, man. And I just read you two prophecies, end time prophecies to prove that. Joel 2 proves the name of the Lord is a requirement for salvation, man. The true name of the Most High and his Son. I was about to say his Father, the Most High and his Son. Yahweh, the Most High, Yahweh Shai, his Son. Yahweh, Bahashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, his Son. Okay? Therefore, my people, Isaiah 52:6, shall know my name. Okay? That's why I said, oh, it is my people in Zechariah 13. My people shall know my name. Right? And the Lord knows who his sheep are. My sheep know me, right? That's what Yahweh Shai said. Therefore, they shall know in that day that I am he that doeth speak, behold his I. And let me get another precept, right? Let's get, the fuck is this, man? That was all this. Alright, I didn't want all this. I'll see. I'll just work with it. This shit weird, bro. I wanted, let me get Romans. Romance. Okay, this is fucking weird. Let me just can't X that out. Just start a new tab. Romans 11, right? Romans 11 and verse 5. Even so, then, at this present time, also there is a remnant. The remnant, the third part that's left there, and that's the elect of the nation of Israel. The remnant of Israel, right? According to the election of grace. See that? And as we know, the elect, Israel, mine elect, right? Isaiah 45:4. All right? That's who the elect is. They're only Israelites, but it's not all the Israelites. Verse 6. And if by grace, then is it no more of works? Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. What then? Question mark. Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, which is the truth. Israel have not obtained the truth, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So the rest of Israel, only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to receive the truth. Why? Because you only receive salvation through the belief of the truth. Everything starts with the truth. If you don't believe in the truth, you're damned. The truth. You need the truth. That's how important the complete truth is. And the rest of Israel are going to be blinded, man. Because remember, Zechariah 13. The Lord's going to intentionally blind them. By Isaiah 6, Isaiah 29, they're going to be intentionally blinded because they were not predestinated for salvation. And there's scriptures on that, man. So they're going to be blinded, which is why when Yahweh Shai come back, he's not gathering every goddamn body. He's gathering the elect. Matthew 24:31. And he, Yahweh Shai, shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, which is Israel, from the four winds. We read earlier, did we not scatter in the four corners of the earth? From one end of heaven to the other. That's what Deuteronomy 28:64 said. That's how we know this is Israelites. Precept on precept, right? So again, he's gathering the elect. He's not gathering every goddamn body, because the elect are going to have the truth. They're going to receive the love of the truth. But all the other Israelites are going to be blinded. The elect. Okay? The elect is who he's gathering. And what are the elect going to do? Now I get, the scripture that takes it all home, man. What are the elect going to do? Which is essentially why they receive salvation, man. Ecclesiastes 17, right? And verse 10, and the elect shall do what? Shall praise his holy set apart name. Can't get around it, man. So the elect are going to have the name, and it has to be in the Hebrew. So just stop, man. So Zephaniah 3:9 destroys the doctrine where you can just call his name in any language. This all language garbage. I will turn to the people of pure language. He gave us back the Hebrew. Why? That they may all call upon the name of the Lord. See, so just that crystal point clear. And of course, the scriptures also talk about how we don't know the mind of the Lord. It may be certain people, man, they may not have repented at all, right? There may be certain women, they may not have repented at all, but they may find a man of the Lord during Jacob's trouble and be delivered. There may be certain dudes, that may not have repented, at all, at least during, this grace period. But then they may end up fucking being delivered too. We don't really, it all really boils down to if you're of the elect. Paul talking about, the elect are not going to be saved because of what they did. Just because it's only literally because they were just chosen. So it's really like it's really like a random selection, a random lottery. Which is what makes the truth very scary. And why we always got to stay humble. Now, of course, you're on a good track, and you should have hope and confidence. We have confidence and we have faith. That's what Paul talked about. We have confidence and faith because right now we're in this truth. We know the names of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. But you can still never get proud, man. So Zephaniah 3:9 destroys this all. That's going to be the title. Zephaniah 3:9 destroys this all language garbage. Okay? It's going to destroy all that. Now let's get the other prophecy of Zephaniah 3, right? It's in Isaiah 19. 2 prophecies of the Lord returning unto us the Hebrew so that we can call his name. Simple, because the elect shall praise the holy name. His name is a part of the truth. Right? Isn't that a scripture on that? His name is a part of the truth. Let me see. Was it Psalms? No, it wasn't Psalms. Let's do this. Precepts proving the Lord's name is a part of his truth. Let's do that. Psalm 111:9. He commands his covenant forever and declares that holy and reverent is his name. That's not really strong. Psalmist. Psalm 91:14 is a good one. The Most High says, I will set him on high because he has known my name. Can't get around that. All right. So again, but you get the point. His name is a part of the truth, man. His name is what cleanses you from your unrighteousness, from your sins. His name is what sanctifies you, man. Right? Scripture say, call on the Lord and you shall be delivered. How if you don't know his name? Isaiah 19:18. The name, everything starts with the name of the Most High, man. Everything. Isaiah 19 verse 19-18. In that day shall 5 cities, it doesn't have to be literally 5, in the land of Egypt, America, which is spiritual Egypt, speak the language of Canaan, which is Paleo Hebrew. Simple. And swear to the Lord of hosts. Deuteronomy 10:20, precept and precept, right? And thou shalt swear by his name. Come on, man. One shall be called the city of destruction. So you can't get around it. You can't get, look. Why did he give us back the Hebrew? That they may call on my name. I might actually throw that in the title too. But yeah, so that destroyed this all language crap. So I'll close out there, man. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, the Most High, in the name of his Son. Why? Because we can't get to the Most High but through the Son. He's the door. For allowing me to make this very video. All right, Lord willing, you edified. Lord willing, you see me in the next one. Because life ain't promised to me either, And I'm going to say a strong shalom to that, man. Shalom.